What's up, guys? We're back. So we want to do a quick review on something that we thought was kind of interesting. I took a trip to New York recently, and while I was there,
He broke some ribs.
I did break ribs on the Bow Bridge. That was very interesting because it snowed and I slipped and fell. But on a positive note, I did hit a couple of ABC stores. Well, they're not called ABC stores, liquor stores while I was there. And the cool thing is, with some of the bars not being as busy, a lot of the alcohols that would normally be hard to get or really impossible to find were actually on shelves. And, some of the people I talked to that owned this liquor stores said that was the reason why we could find some of those. So one of the ones that I picked up that I'd never seen before or even heard of was a Buffalo Trace Kosher Rye. And I was like, I've never even heard of that. So I thought, I'm going to try it because I'm a rye person. And Chris will tell you that.
Certainly, yeah. Definitely a rye guy.
Yeah.
If I'm bourbon guy, he's rye guy.
Yeah. And, I thought this would be a great one to bring back and to try. And as you can see, I've had a little bit of it. It's, just above half. And
so you were telling me that you've had, and I guess I've tasted it with you, but the E.H. Taylor rye.
Yeah, that was the one that we were drinking on our very first episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And the E.H. Taylor rye is a bottle and bond, good rye. But I actually enjoy this a little more than the E.H. Taylor rye. And just a quick thing about this is that
It comes out during Passover every year.
It does.
Yeah, and meets Passover requirements. Yeah. The interesting things for me on this is aged 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good timeline for especially for rye.
Yeah. Does it have the mash bill on it? I remember reading.
Buffalo Trace doesn't release mash bills.
They don't.
That I know of. I want someone out there to be like, oh, they totally do. I'm pretty sure they don't. I think they only have a couple mash bills or a few mash bills.
Yeah.
It does say that it uses the same grains as their Buffalo Trace bourbon. Mm-hmm. So they must just change up the percentages a little bit so they can consider it a rye.
Yeah.
I would wager to guess that this isn't a high rye.
It's not, and I can tell you that drinking it, and so it doesn't. I've had some 95%ers out there and stuff,
but Buffalo Trace bourbon drinks more like a rye than most bourbons. So it's not, given that flavor profile, they don't really have to ramp up the rye too much to make this taste like a real rye.
I agree. Yeah. So on the nose of this, and this kind of matches when I first tried it. It does have that Buffalo Trace signature kind of a cherry flavor.
For sure. The funny thing is, though, it smells less spicy.
It does.
Than the regular Buffalo Trace.
But this has a little bit of gingerbread cookie to it. Just on the underside of it. Like, you get that cherry at first, and it's got a little gingerbread to it.
Kind of cherry cough drop smell to it.
Yeah? Okay.
But see, I always come back to medicinal smells when it comes to ryes. Just because, again, as a kid,
the rock and rye
was a medicine in my household. And it's crazy, but whiskey was medicine.
Yeah. And
when you got a tooth pulled, your mom gave you a paper towel soaked in Jack Daniels. And I lied, I guess, in one of our previous videos, said I never had Jack Daniels. I have had Jack Daniels as a kid. As a kid, you soak a paper towel, put it on your tooth socket, and that probably sounds disgusting. My wife's making awful faces. Yeah. But that was our remedy for that. And then for coughs, we had rock and rye. So when I smell rye, I still get that kind of like those medicinal notes and the flashbacks of having taken medicine. Yeah.
And I get some with rye. Honestly, I get a lot of botanical. Even almost some grass sometimes as I smell it. It's just a very fresh smell.
That is one flavor note or sensory note that you get that I've never said. Yeah, I get grass.
No?
No, I've never
I do.
I love the smell of fresh cut grass. But I
get a. Yeah.
Woo!
It's spicy.
Spicy. Yep. And again, Buffalo Trace.
Known for that.
It's normally spicy for me.
Yeah, it is for me too. But it's just even more so, I think, with the rye. But
it's just good whiskey.
It is good.
I mean, it's just good. I mean, I could sit here and I could critique it, and I can give you some of the tasty notes. It's definitely got a little bit of, baking spices in it. It's got some pepper.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the gingerbread
Does have the
cookie that
pepper.
you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I do get a little bit of fruit from this, probably like a little bit of raisin from it.
Oh yeah, I got that. I actually get that on the backside, just that dark dried fruit.
It's got a good start, you know, at the tip of the tongue.
Mm-hmm.
The middle is really good. It's got a decent mouthfeel. It is a lighter whiskey, not super light, like some of the Irishes we've had.
No.
This is 47%, so it's just above that
That 90. That's,
that 45% mark.
It's a 94 proof.
Yeah, 94 proof. So it's
solid.
in good territory.
Yeah.
For proof. This is a great sipping whiskey.
Mm-hmm. That's what I've used it for.
Yeah, I mean, just pour this in a rocks glass.
Yeah, I realized how far down I got, and I was like, I want to save it a little bit because I don't know if I'll ever find it again. So.
And because he says he can't find it again, I'm going to pour more.
And he's just going to drink more of it. That's all right. You know, again, we get our whiskey to share. There's selection.
Sean sent me a text message, and so Sean and I have been friends for 14 years. I don't think anything has brought me and Sean together quite like whiskey has, though. Because in that 14 years, we've kind of drifted a little bit, come back together.
Yeah.
But I would say that whiskey has been our defining. In the past year, we've really come together around whiskey.
Yeah, whiskey and probably living in the same town and being.
Well, a lot of that's helped too, but yeah, for sure. But I definitely think whiskey's given us something to connect around.
For sure.
But anyway, I sent him a text message. He sent me a text message the other day. Actually, photos of all the whiskey he had bought. And he's actually had a few whiskey spinning sprees here lately.
Two.
Two. Okay, a few. Two. And so anyway, he sends me some pictures. And I said, what did you pay for that? He didn't want to share what he paid for a lot of it. Mm-hmm. And he says, what is that? He said, was it envy or what did you say? Is that envy?
Judgment or envy?
Judgment or envy.
Yeah.
And I said something to along the lines like, I'll never judge you for buying more whiskey.
Right.
And I said, so I guess envy. And I said, but envy might be out the window because I know I can drink any of it whenever I want.
That's right.
So it's not like,
Yeah, my whiskey is your whiskey.
Yeah,
sure.
it's exactly like, and that's kind of the way my whiskey selection is. I don't call it a collection; it's a selection.
I don't collect whiskey.
Yeah, and I will share it with anybody who comes over. And
I collect the whiskey experience. That's what I collect.
Yeah, maybe I collect whiskey bottles. You know, the empty bottles.
I do have a cabinet full of those.
Yeah.
Ones. Yeah.
This is just a good, solid whiskey. Mm-hmm. And what'd you pay for this? Is this a $60 mark or?
It was top shelf.
All right, we need our fact checker behind the camera.
Here's the thing. Locally here, and we've said this before, our prices are regulated through our ABC market, which is awesome. But when I was in New York City,
New York's driven by demand.
It's driven up by demand, and it wasn't. I want to say it was like $60 or $70.
From memory, I think you said you paid like $60.
Yeah, because there was a couple of them there that were about $90 that I just didn't want to get.
So we can find regular Buffalo Trace here in North Carolina for the $28 mark.
29, 28.
So this is double the price, but it is a rye.
So I see it online anywhere from the $70 mark up to $150.
Yeah. Sure, but the online market is going to be demand driven.
Sure.
So yeah, let's say it was $60.
Yeah.
And you can get the regular Buffalo Trace for $28. The regular Buffalo Trace is 8 years. This is 7 years.
Yep.
But it's good whiskey.
It is. I enjoy the uniqueness of it. I don't have anything on my shelf that tastes anything like it. So if you're out there and you find this, get it. I mean, you may not find it again.
It's solid.
I'll be honest. Yeah. I'll be honest. It's not something that's released in mass amounts, and I've never seen it before. So that's why I got it.
So there you go, folks. That's our honest review of the Buffalo Trace Kosher, the Rye Recipe.
There you go.
If you can get it, it's definitely worth it.